Dear students, today we are going to discuss about some anomalous behavior of boron and also the diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. So let us discuss about the anomalous behavior of boron. Anomalous means some unusual or exceptional behavior of boron compared to other members of the boron family. Boron, the first member of the group 13, shows anomalous behavior due to its extremely low atomic size. Among the other group members, it shows extremely small size. When moved from top to bottom in a group, atomic size increases. So it is the first member, so it is having small size and high nuclear charge by size ratio. It is having high nuclear charge because of its small size. So high nuclear charge by size ratio. Then high electronegativity. When moved from top to bottom in a group, electronegativity decreases. So it is having high electronegativity. And non-availability of d orbitals. It is having small size and there is no d orbitals in the valence shell. Then some of the differences are mentioned below. That means there are some anomalous behavior in the case of boron compared to other members of the boron family. Boron is a typical non-metal whereas other members are metals. When moved in a group from top to bottom, metallic character increases. So it is considered as a non-metal because it is a first member, first element. Then from moving top to bottom, metallic character increases. So all other members are metals, only boron is a non-metal. Then boron is a bad conductor of electricity. It is a non-metal, so it is a bad conductor of electricity, whereas other metals are good conductors. Then unlike others, boron shows allotropy and exists in two forms. Allotropy means the existence of an element in two or more forms. So boron shows allotropy and it can exist in two forms, that is crystalline and amorphous. Then aluminium is a soft metal and does not exist in different forms. Other members of the group also do not show allotropy. In boron family, the elements are boron, then comes aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. So first member boron shows allotropy, it can exist in crystalline and amorphous form. Then aluminium is a soft metal and does not exist in different forms. And other members of the group also do not show allotropy. Then melting point and boiling point of boron are very high than those of the other elements of group 30 because of the small size of the boron atom, it forms strong covalent bond with neighboring atom. So melting point is very high in the case of boron compared to other elements of the group 30. The boron forms only covalent compounds whereas aluminum and other elements form boron forms covalent compounds whereas aluminum and other elements of group 13 form ionic compounds. That means it is having some covalent character. Then boron forms only covalent compounds whereas other elements of the group 13 shows some it forms ionic compounds. So these are some differences. Some anomalous behavior of boron compared to other elements of group 13. Here the fifth point is boron forms only covalent compound means it is having a non-metallic character, so it forms covalent compound. Whereas aluminum and other elements are metal, so they form ionic compounds. They are having some covalent character at the same time. Then other points for showing anomalous behavior of boron is that the hydroxide and oxide of boron, hydroxide BOH thrice, BOH thrice or H3BO3, and this is hydroxide of boron. Then oxide B2O3, both are acidic in nature whereas those of aluminium and gallium, the hydroxide and oxides of aluminium and gallium, are amphoteric in nature. while those of indium and tellurium are basic. The only acidic hydroxide and oxide is that of boron. The trihalides of boron exist as monomers. On the other hand, most of the other halides exist as dimers. AlCl3 exists as dimer, Al2Cl6. That means in the case of boron trihalide, boron is having small size, so it can accommodate only 3 atoms around it. So it can exist as only a monomer. But in the case of aluminium, because of its large size, it can form dimer, and so it can form bonds with 4 atoms, 4 large sized halogen atoms. So this is not possible in the case of boron atom because of its small size. Then the hydrides of boron, that is known as boranes, are quite stable, while those of others are unstable. Now in the case of aluminum hydride, they are unstable, but in the case of hydrides of boron, they are highly stable and can exist as boranes. Then dilute acids have no action on boron. Others liberate hydrogen from them with the action of dilute acids, dilute sulfuric acid, dilute HCl. Boron is having no action, but in the case of aluminium and other metals, they liberate hydrogen atom. This is the usual action of metals with the dilute acids. Usually metals liberate hydrogen atom when they treated with dilute acids, but in the case of boron, since it is a non-metal, it is not having any action with the dilute acids. Due to the non-availability of d orbitals, boron is unable to expand its octet. Therefore, boron can exhibit a maximum covalency of 4 only. For example, BH4 minus ion. In the case of BH4 minus ion, it can exhibit a maximum covalency of 4 only. In all other case, it exhibits a covalency of 3. In the case of boron trihalides, it shows a covalency of 3. Other members exhibit a maximum covalency of 6. So in the case of aluminium, it can exhibit a covalency of 6. Aluminium OH 6 times 3 minus. So in this case, aluminium exhibits a covalency of 6. So here there is no d orbital in the case of boron atom. So because of the non-availability of d orbitals, boron is unable to expand its octet, so shows a maximum covalency of 4 only. But all other elements exhibit a covalency of 6. Now let us see about the diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. So what is diagonal relationship? Some elements which are placed diagonally in periodic table shows some similar properties, that is known as diagonal relationship. For example, lithium shows diagonal relationship with magnesium. So lithium and magnesium both are having similar properties. Similarly, beryllium shows similar diagonal relationship between with beryllium shows diagonal relationship with aluminium. So next one, boron. Boron shows diagonal relationship with silicon. Then next comes carbon. Carbon shows diagonal relationship with phosphorus. So here we are going to discuss about the diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. So boron shows diagonal relationship with silicon. Silicon is a member of group 14. Then boron shows striking similarity with silicon in properties. So diagonal relationship means both are having similar properties. Some points of similarity that we are going to discuss here. Boron and silicon exhibit the typical properties of non-metals. So both are non-metals. Boron and silicon shows non-metallic properties. Then neither boron nor silicon occurs in the native free state. Both occur as their oxy compounds. For example, boron exists in the form of borates and silicon exists in the form of silicates. They do not exist in the native free state. Then boron, that means they do not exist in the free state but exist in the compound form. Here boron exists in the form of borates and silicon exists in the form of silicate another compound. Then boron and silicon have similar densities, electronegativities and ionization enthalpies. So both boron and silicon are having similar densities. Then next one, electronegativity. Electronegativity means the tendency to attract electron pairs towards itself, shared electron pairs towards itself. So both are having same electronegativity. Then ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy means the energy required to remove the most loosely bound electron in its outermost shell, that is ionization enthalpy. So both these elements are having similar density, electronegativity and then also ionization enthalpy. Then both of them do not form cations because they are non-metals, so they do not form cations, they have tendency to form anions. Both form covalent compounds like hydrides, halides, oxides. So they have tendency to form covalent compounds with hydrogen, halogen and oxygen. Then both boron and silicon exist in amorphous as well as crystalline forms. For each, the crystalline form is harder and less reactive than amorphous form. So both can exist in the amorphous and crystalline forms. In both cases, crystalline form is harder and less reactive compared to amorphous form. Now we can continue the diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. Both boron and silicon are not attacked by water or non-oxidizing acids. They do not react with water and acids. Then both boron and silicon can be prepared by reducing their oxides with magnesium. So both can be prepared by treating their oxides with magnesium. Here boron trioxide on treating with magnesium, boron can be produced. Then oxide of magnesium is also formed. Then silicon, similarly silicon dioxide on reaction with magnesium, silicon, non-metal silicon is formed plus corresponding oxide of magnesium. Then both boron and silicon react with oxygen at high temperature to form the corresponding oxides B2O3 and SiO2 respectively. So boron on treating with oxygen, similarly silicon on oxygen with oxygen, corresponding oxides are formed B2O3 and SiO2. In the same way, both boron and silicon combine with sulfur at elevated temperature to form their sulfides B2S3, SiS2 respectively are formed. So boron on treating with sulfur, boron forms B2S3. Similarly, silicon on treating with sulfur, it forms SiS2. So at high temperature, boron and silicon on treating with oxygen and sulfur, they form oxides and sulfides respectively of the corresponding non-metals boron and silicon. There are some other points for diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. Both boric oxide, that is B2O3, and silica SiO2 have high melting points. So oxides of boron and silica both are having high melting points and are acidic in nature. They dissolve in alkali solutions to form metaborates and silicates respectively. So since they are acidic, since both boric oxide and silicon dioxide, the oxides of boron and silica both are acidic. Since they are acidic, they can dissolve in alkali solutions to form metaborates and silicates. So B2O3 plus 2NaOH gives sodium metaborate. Similarly, SiO2, silicon dioxide on treating with NaOH, it forms Na2SiO3, sodium metasilicate. The next property, the chlorides of both boron and silicon get hydrolyzed by water to orthoboric acid and orthosilicic acid respectively. So BCl3 on treating with H2O remains, it undergo hydrolysis and forming orthoboric acid H3BO3. This is boron hydroxide. BOH thrice is orthoboric acid H3BO3. Then SiCl4, silicon tetrachloride on hydrolysis, it forms orthosilicic acid H4SiO4. Then fluoride, similarly fluorides of both boron and silicon get hydrolyzed by water, just as in the case of boron BCl3 and SiCl4. The fluorides of boron and silicon boron and silicon fluorides undergo hydrolysis by water and forms in the case of BF3 it yields orthoboric acid and fluoroboric acid. So BF3 on undergo hydrolysis and form orthoboric acid and fluoroboric acid. Fluoroboric acid is HBF4, while SiFO yields orthosilicic acid and fluorosilicic acid. SiFO forms orthosilicic acid and fluorosilicic acid, H2SiF6. So these are some diagonal relationship between boron and silicon. Both show similar properties in most of the reactions. Thank you.